Well, hello, everyone. I'm Jill Bloom, group publisher of Roofing Contractor, Walls and Ceilings, and Building Enclosure. And thank you so much for joining me, whether you are listening or watching. It's always an honor to have a few minutes to talk to Trent Contey, partner at Adams and Reese. Trent, thank you so much for joining me.
Jill, it's a pleasure to be here.
Well, summer is off to a great start, and there's always lots of things happening in Florida. But before we get there, we were just talking about some exciting things in regards to mergers and acquisitions. Can you tell contractors what's happening with mergers and acquisitions, and what do we need to know about?
Sure. So the market is still very hot if you want to buy or sell a business, right? And we're seeing some cooling signs, whether it's inflation or it's the economy, but right now it is still a very hot market. One of the things that we've talked in past discussions about the importance of getting your books in the right shape and all that kind of stuff, but one of the things that I think a lot of contractors forget about is what to do with your certifications, your license, all those types of things that are necessary for you to do business. And what we've been doing recently is in a lot of our merger and acquisition deals is making sure that we have a separate agreement. It's commonly referred to as a transition services agreement, or TSA, that really deals with those licenses, how they transfer from one entity to another, to make sure that you're legally performing work. This is a key component. So if you are thinking about buying or selling your business, make sure that you are also thinking about what happens to my various certifications and licensures and all the other things that are necessary in order to do projects out there.
Very nice. Yeah, we've talked about that before, because it sounds like sometimes contractors don't realize you need to have more than one person that has the license.
Right. And if you forget about that and you the person buying your company, or if you're buying another company and that isn't taken care of, then you could potentially be left holding the bag without actively being able to do business in that area. So that's why you want to make sure that you've contemplated that in advance, that you've documented, make sure you've got the administrative backfill in place. And by the time you close the deal or shortly thereafter, you've got everything that you need.
Yes, always good to have a backup plan.
Right.
Well, there's no doubt. It seems like there's a lot going on in Florida right now, and there's always some good things happening. But let's start with House Bill 305.
Yeah, absolutely. So recently, the companion bill, Senate Bill 76, this was last year. This was a real big issue because it directly affected solicitation of contractors going door to door. And this impacted a lot of roofing contractors and other trades out there. So a lawsuit was filed in federal court by a roofing contractor. In response to that, the district court ended up issuing a temporary injunction, putting the solicitation provisions within that statute on hold. Now, recently, as we talked about in a previous session, Jill, there was a legislative special session that occurred in the last few weeks that also tackled some of these issues. The judge in that case that was dealing with Senate Bill 76 said because of that recent special session, it's made this case moot, and I'm going to dismiss the whole case. So in effect, that roofing contractor had a victory. Solicitation can still happen. Obviously, there are rules and regulations as it relates to that. But very interesting, insurance and the roofing industry constantly changing in the state of Florida. It's obviously a big market given the number of storms that we have here. But stay tuned. I'm sure there'll be more battles along those lines.
There always will be. And finally, Trent, let's talk about arbitration. What are some of the do's and don'ts that contractors need to know when it comes to this?
Yeah, so we've got a lot of arbitrations that are teed up. I think I mentioned to you as we were talking, I've got one this week. I've got a 4-day one coming up in a few weeks. Arbitration tends to be a prevalent format to resolving disputes, even more so than going to court, because of arbitration provisions that are contained in contracts. So contractors need to understand that when you're in arbitration, things usually move at a faster pace. Usually have somebody that understands construction law that's overseeing the arbitration. So it makes it a little bit easier to streamline some of the arguments. But it can be expensive. The taxpayer dollar usually pays for that judge. You're paying out of pocket for the arbitrator. So you want to make sure that it's a right choice for you. The good news is that once a decision is issued, it's usually final, meaning it's very difficult to appeal. And a lot of times that's all you're looking for. So definitely seeing an uptick in this related to delay claims and material price increases. I would anticipate that the number of arbitration claims that we will handle here internally will continue to increase as those issues continue to prevail. So.
Great insight as always, Trent. Thank you very much. And if anybody has any questions for you, how do they reach out to you?
Sure, they can just email me, trent.contey@arlaw.com, or go to adamsandreese.com for more information.
Fabulous. And if anybody has any questions for us, it's roofingcontractor.com, wconline.com, or buildingenclosureonline.com. And most importantly, enjoy your summer, stay safe and healthy, and we'll talk to you next time.
Hey!